The world today is a relentless tide, a surging ocean of demands, notifications, and anxieties that seek to pull the soul from its moorings. Before this week, my life was a frantic prayer, a nonstop hustle where my feet moved faster than my spirit could follow, leaving me perpetually out of breath and perpetually distant from the sacred peace I knew was my divine inheritance. I was serving God, yes, but in a state of chaotic motion, mistaking exhaustion for devotion, and the constant ringing of the external world for the subtle, holy whisper intended for me alone. My heart was a marketplace, cluttered with the fleeting wares of earthly concern, and in its clamor, the voice of the divine shepherd was muffled, indistinct, and sadly often ignored. It was time I realized for a sacred cessation, a deliberate withdrawal from the noise to seek the true, unshakable foundation of faith that resides in the unmoving center of the soul, the sukoon that is promised to the believers. This 7-day journey, which I called the power of stillness, was not an escape from responsibility but a descent into the deepest truth of my being, a pilgrimage inward to encounter the holy presence that resides not in the tempest, but in the profound quiet after the storm has passed. It began with the simple, daunting act of sitting, not just sitting idly, but sitting with intention, dedicating the first and last hours of each day to unadulterated stillness, placing my phone out of reach and my mind gently on the divine name. I learned that the first rush of silence is often the most terrifying, for it is then that all the unacknowledged fears, the unresolved hurts, and the persistent doubts come swirling to the surface, demanding to be seen. This spiritual wilderness, however, is merely the proving ground, the test of one's commitment to the sacred quest for tranquility. One must simply abide, remembering the faith of the prophets in their solitary vigils and their unwavering trust in the unseen hand, guiding them through the dark. The true work of the first few days was in the gentle yet firm discipline of the mind, a practice of spiritual taming akin to tending a wild garden. When the mind began its inevitable anxious drift toward tomorrow's tasks or yesterday's regrets, I did not chastise it or wrestle with it in a futile power struggle. Instead, I simply and repeatedly brought my attention back to my breath, to the repetition of a sacred verse, to the steady, unadorned fact of my existence in that singular, eternal moment. This was my meditation, my prayer of silence, a profound recognition that the past is dissolved and the future is not yet written, and that all the power of the Creator is only truly accessible in the now. I came to understand the profound theological truth that stillness is not empty space. It is a profound fullness, a vessel emptied of self-will so that it may be filled entirely with the grace and peace of the Almighty, a surrender that is the highest form of spiritual fortitude. As the week unfolded, a subtle but profound shift began to take place, an internal reorientation of my entire being, a slow but certain alignment with the cosmic rhythm of God's perfect order. The external world did not cease its noise, nor did my responsibilities disappear, but my internal relationship to them was utterly transformed. The anxieties that once seemed like crushing boulders now felt like pebbles I could easily set aside. The hurried, shallow breaths of my former life deepened into the slow, rhythmic cadence of a soul at rest, a living, breathing testament to the psalmist's decree to be still and know that I am God. It was in this state of quietude that I began to truly hear the soft, insistent voice of guidance, no longer a frantic plea, but a steady, calm assurance that illuminated the correct path forward for my life and my ministry, showing me that the most powerful form of action often arises from the deepest, most patient state of non-doing, a faithful waiting upon the divine instruction. The concept of stillness transitioned from a mere practice to a continuous state of being, a conscious decision to carry the sanctuary of silence within me as I moved through the day's tasks. I learned to introduce pauses, sacred micro moments of silence before opening a door, before answering a call, before speaking a sharp word, allowing the Spirit to filter the intent of the action. These small, prayerful interruptions acted as anchors, preventing my boat from being swept away by the currents of reactivity and worldly pressure. I came to see every mundane action, from washing dishes to meeting a colleague, as a potential altar, a place where I could bring the stillness of my heart and consecrate the moment to the highest, transforming labor into worship and turning duty into a form of continuous walking meditation. This was the revelation. The spiritual life is not about where you go to be still, but about what you carry with you from that place of inner retreat. This journey to inner calm was also a powerful, necessary lesson in trust and complete reliance on the divine providence. When you quiet the ceaseless planning and controlling mechanisms of the ego, a sacred vulnerability emerges, forcing you to confront the reality that you are not, in fact, the one in ultimate control of your destiny. This surrender, far from being a weakness, is the pinnacle of faith. It is the spiritual equivalent of placing your hand completely into the hand of the beloved, saying, your will, not mine, be done. The stillness allows the soul to release the illusion of self-sufficiency and enter into the profound, comforting reality of interdependence with the Creator. It is in this profound peace of letting go that the true, deep-seated calm is born, a calm that is not dependent on external circumstances being favorable, but is rooted entirely in the unwavering, immutable reality of God's love and perfect plan for every moment of existence, no matter how chaotic the external storms may rage. By the end of the 7 days, the difference was palpable, not just in my own emotional landscape, but in how I was able to engage with and reflect the light of my faith to the world around me. My words were fewer, but they carried greater weight, being less rushed and more considered. My presence was calmer, offering a quiet, non-anxious space for others to rest their own troubled spirits, embodying the peace I had diligently cultivated. I realized that the true power of stillness is not for self-indulgence, but for service. It is the act of sharpening the instrument of one's own soul so that it may more perfectly resonate with the divine frequency and more effectively transmit that peace, comfort, and unwavering love to a world that is so desperately thirsty for tranquility. The calm I had found was a gift, yes, but a gift intended to be shared, a spiritual resource for the healing of the world. The journey to inner calm is not a one-week retreat, but a lifelong commitment, a continuous return to the sacred center, a perpetual seeking of the quiet space where the human spirit meets the Holy Spirit. This stillness is not a finish line. It is the road itself, the pathway of prayer and faithful devotion. The ultimate lesson of the week was a profound, simple recognition that the truest prayer is often the one unspoken, the deepest devotion, the one expressed in the quiet, steady beating of a heart at rest in its Creator. To be still is to be fully present, fully aware, and fully surrendered. And in this pure, unwavering presence, one finds not only calm, but the very essence of the divine life, a peaceful existence flowing from the eternal, silent source. And so, I carry this silence forward, a portable sanctuary in the cacophony of life, knowing that the power of stillness is the deepest, most potent expression of my abiding faith.